0-1, 1-0, looking for a fastball.
In the air, right center field. The first one in the Phillies uniform is a bomb into the second deck for Bryce Harper, and the Phils lead it 7-4.
The fans want the curtain call, and he's going to give it to them.
What's up? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're here to talk about the $330 million man, Bryce Harper. And a lot of people around baseball, including fans and sometimes even myself, consider Bryce Harper to be super overrated, especially with the contract that he's getting. But I'm here to prove to everybody that he might not be as overrated as everybody says he is. So to start off, I think it's important to see kind of where he actually is rated by, experts in the industry. So to start off, we're going to look at the MLB Network's top 100 right now list. And obviously this list isn't right now. They release these during every offseason, so this is from last winter. But going into the 2019 season, MLB Network had Bryce Harper ranked as the 15th best player in all of baseball. When looking at ESPN's list, which is very similar to the MLB Network's list, the same sort of standards, this came out before the 2019 season, they also had Bryce Harper at number 15, which is pretty interesting that they had him at the same place. And then just sort of a different perspective, Sports Illustrated had Bryce Harper listed as the 20th best player going into last season. So again, rated 15 to 20 from sources that I consider to be pretty reliable and pretty accurate when it comes to what they report on and what they say. Not that what they say goes all the time, but again, I mean, he's not rated that high compared to what people would really consider somebody to be overrated by. Although Bryce Harper had crazy high expectations going into this past season because of his $330 million contract for 13 years that he had just signed, I still don't think he had that bad of a year. The guy hit 260, which is kind of low, especially it's below his career average, but he also had 35 home runs and 114 RBIs. He had 15 stolen bases. He had an 882 OPS, and he slugged .510. And those are kind of right around his career averages, so he didn't have that bad of a year. I mean, those are good numbers. I'm pretty sure most teams would take that kind of production out of a right fielder. I think it's also important to look at the fact that he came up as a 19-year-old. He made his major league debut at 19 years old after not even playing at a real college. He played at junior college, and he won Rookie of the Year. He's won an MVP. He's been a 6-time All-Star in his 8 years in the league. So, I mean, the guy has put up some pretty good career accolades and all of that. Don't just say he's overrated because he doesn't put up the MVP numbers every single season. So, one statistic that a lot of experts like to look at, and I'm not exactly sure what it really means and how they calculate it, but it's WAR, and WAR is wins above replacement, so it's basically how much better are you than the average player. So out of every player in the major leagues right now that's currently active, Bryce Harper ranks 41st in WAR. You might be going, well, that seems kind of low and this and that, but I mean, there are guys who have been playing in the major leagues for years longer than him. For example, Sin-Soo Choo, Alex Gordon, Ryan Zimmerman, Jason Hayward, guys that just have more experience than Bryce Harper. And WAR is an accumulative statistic, so it's not like it's like an average, like a batting average. So every year it either goes up or it goes down, and it just keeps adding on. So Bryce Harper's been in the league for 8 years, and out of every player ranked above him in WAR that's currently in the major leagues that has played 8 or fewer years, there are only 4 players ahead of Bryce Harper. Those 4 players are Mookie Betts, Nolan Arenado, Manny Machado, and Andrelton Simmons. So out of everybody that's been in the league as long as Bryce Harper is the 4th best player. So ranking him at 15 might not seem that crazy. Also, I know you guys might be saying, oh, Mike Trout's been in the league as long as him, but according to Baseball Reference, Mike Trout's actually been in the league for 9 years. Maybe he came up the year before. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm just going off of what Baseball Reference says. Now, when you don't look at the statistics, Bryce Harper is still an absolute superstar. I mean, he's on the cover of the most recent MLB The Show. He always brings a big audience to everything he does. He seems to be pretty clutch. You know, he had a bunch of clutch moments with the Phillies this past season, and he always draws a lot of attention. And I think that sort of attention is a good thing for a team most of the time. And you can't really equate that to a statistic other than just that he's a star. So, in conclusion, when you look at Bryce Harper and you jump to conclusions and say, oh man, this guy's overrated because he's paid so much, just think about how the game is changing. People are getting paid more and more every single year. And he's really not that bad. He's a really good player, and he would fit in the outfield of most teams that don't already have a stacked outfield. So when you call Bryce Harper overrated, take a second and think about what you just said, because the guy's a beast.